So after not getting annoyed at bad opinions on social media for a whole week, I decided to click on my Twitter, and I saw some opinions that were just so bad that I had to make a video on them. So my journey down the rabbit hole of bad opinions started with seeing this on Twitter. A boomer mum made a post saying, "Mum should get a fast pass to the front of the line at a coffee shop. Honey, you're 22 and slept 10 hours last night. Get to the back of the line." It's a little cringe, but at the end of the day, we can let a mum post cringe. But not according to Twitter. There was a meme page, Right Wing Cope, that just could not let a mum have a cringe post without giving them their opinion. So Right Wing Cope is apparently a Twitter page against right wing. I don't know how this stuff is right wing. I'm not big into politics, to be honest, but they posted this. "I got nutted in, so you have to be an inconvenience." On the face, it seems like just a weird thing to reply to that, because it's like, how is this right wing? And they go, "Ageism against young people is literally an intergenerational form of conservative thinking that's existed for centuries." Lot to unpack there. Ageism, I don't think age is really anything to do with this. And ageism, I'm not an expert on the topic, but I'm pretty sure it's more about old people not being able to do things rather than mums wanting coffees and lines with "Go off, king." I don't know if it's conservative either. I feel like a lot of people have babies, whether you're conservative or whatever political beliefs you have. Like, a lot of people want to have children. But you may think this is the least of it, but it actually goes deeper and deeper. With one commenter replying, "Breeders are the height of privilege. They genuinely think that the world owes them for their mistakes." This is such weird terminology for me, and it actually brings me off of that into Reddit. More on that later, but calling people breeders, the majority of people can breed. And it's not always a mistake. And they're talking about mothers. It seems like such a weird word to talk about a mother. I must have skipped a few beats in the politics. This is why I try not to be political. They just go down political paths and you start believing some of the dumbest things in the world just because that's part of your path politically. I'm not on Twitter, but on an even bigger cesspool of bad opinions, which is Reddit. Or more specifically, those with a normal functioning brain, what they mean is they're anti-birth, just giving birth in general. This community supports antinatalism, the philosophical belief that having children is morally wrong and cannot be justified. It's not that they don't want to have babies at all. It's that they think no one should have babies, apparently, and everyone should just adopt. So let's dig a bit deeper into their specific beliefs. They basically summed up everything that they believe. They basically summed up all of their stupid-ass beliefs based on birth being ethical problems. I won't read all of them because they kind of just repeat themselves a lot, but they believe that reproducing is a gamble. You should never do anything if it's a gamble, they believe. Step into a casino, forget about it. Playing Pokemon where there's a chance of critical hits, forget about it. Your Pokemon might die. Applying for a job that you really want, forget it. There's a chance of rejection. Just, if anything in life contains a small amount of risk, forget about it. Don't even bother. They believe that existence is imposed. No one asks to be born or chooses to the circumstances of their birth. Basically, I didn't ask to be born. According to these guys, you're only ever supposed to do something if you ask it to be done to you. Like, if they're going to school, they didn't ask to go to school. Don't bother. Would they get a job? They didn't ask to get a job. Someone's trying to play music at a party that they're not really interested in? No, don't. That kind of music is being imposed on me. It's unethical. Forget about it. Having a baby, that baby didn't ask to be born. Forget about it. Never do it. Ethically wrong. This third one is a big one. This is where they start repeating themselves. Everyone experiences some suffering, and some people experience disproportionate more suffering than others, such as pain, fear, sickness, injury, grief, death. They believe you're not supposed to have babies because there's a potential that suffering's going to happen. It's like, I don't know who these guys are. They're almost certainly American. There's no way anyone from any other country would be so just brainless about this. Life, people suffer in life. That's just part of life. When you talk about having a baby, you're reproducing an independent being and you're choosing to raise them in the world. You raise them how you want to raise them. And I think there's a problem these days with everything becoming so expensive, and raising children is a lot more expensive for a lot of people. So it can be pretty hard to justify raising a child in a world where it's hard to make ends meet. My mother had 6 kids and we were living off a single income. And I think we were definitely always happy growing up, even though we didn't have money. We had each other and all the experiences from childhood. A lot of them aren't good, but a lot of them are fun. And it's just part of life. Not everything's always going to be perfect. That's what makes some of the great moments in your life so good, because you've struggled so hard. I won't read you the rest because they're all just repeating themselves, but this guy says, "I believe I am doing them a kindness for my countless potential descendants by sparing them harms from existence." Now, I'll point out that you're talking about not having kids, so just not having descendants. You're not sparing them from anything. They're not going to be alive. But he's talking about him personally, that he's sparing him. And I think that's an interesting point because I don't know much about this guy. But when I click on this guy's profile, I see that he has 121,905 karma points on Reddit. I will believe he is sparing his descendants from the pain. There's no way a man that has this much karma points is worth reproducing. So maybe there is a chance that he has a point in there with that one. I don't think it's a rule for everyone. You should have an attitude of respect for mothers. If they're choosing to bring someone into this world, you know, that they have a baby for 9 months, you got to have a little bit of respect for them. But I think that this guy raising a child, you know, maybe you got a point, my guy. There is one really good take that I want to play for you, but I just want to read why these sorts of beliefs can be like harmful when you're saying them. And a lot of younger people are on the internet. There's someone saying they should get a vasectomy at 17 years old. And they posted it saying, I'm always surprised how discouraged vasectomies are. And someone points out purpose of life is to have kids, which is kind of debatable, I think. But I still am on the side of having kids personally. But he goes and says, kids are annoying and expensive. I guess I'm going against the purpose of my life because they're annoying and expensive. But the point is he's 17 and everyone in the comments is encouraging him that he should get a vasectomy. They say things like, oh, it's reversible, when really I studied biomedical science and I can tell you it's not that reversible. You do a lot of permanent damage. There is a chance of reversing it through a different surgery, but even that's kind of dicey once it's already been done. It's not guaranteed. So saying it's easily reversible is just not true, and encouraging 17 years old to do that. Like if you asked me when I was 17 years old, I would have probably said something like this, or I never want kids, or something to that degree. But you get a bit older, you start to think more about the future. It might come up, but you've been convinced by some Reddit community because you're young and impressionable that kids is bad. It just is a toxic way of thinking. I think it's a bad way. In any event, all that said, I want to play what I think is my best take on having children that I can get behind that's anti-children. Here you go.
Well, Ian, I went in there, put my heart and soul into it, really gave it my heart and soul, and at the end of the day, speaking from my heart and soul, that's really all I could have done.
Is it though?
What?
Putting your heart and soul into it, is that really all you could have done? What about practicing? Or learning the words? Or trying to stay in tune? Aren't all those things quite important?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Ian, I went in there today, put my heart and soul on the line, really gave it my heart and soul, and at the end of the day, coming right from my heart and soul now, there's really nothing else I could have done.
Yeah, but technically there is though.
What?
Well, you know, you could have got up early and rehearsed. You could have dressed like a proper singer instead of getting trussed up in leather like some Tory MP 2 seconds before a fatal wanking accident. You could have picked a funky, modern tune instead of that sort of depressing Mariah Carey thing that sounded like something a taxi driver would listen to whilst burning photo albums in a lay-by. Or you could have worked on your vocal technique, which, to be honest, was a bit hoarse and shouty. I don't mean to be rude, but you put me in mind of a dog trying to bark the alphabet. Is any of this helping?
But I put my heart and soul into that performance.
Wait for
but
it,
in
wait
the
for
real
it.
world, that's not really good enough. Which, if you think about it, Felicity, is probably why you're still living with your gran and working in that biro factory. In real life, as opposed to the happy, clappy, rainbow fantasy world that you see fit to fly through on your winged unicorn of delusion, sincerity is no excuse for failure. You don't see pilots saying, sorry, I killed 300 people and sheared the roof off that church. I guess I was giving it too much heart and soul.
Kids are watching this.
Kids, yeah, brilliant. Because, of course, having children is sort of like a way of achieving something without needing any talent. Which, again, is a metaphor for your whole life.
I hate you, you're a horrible presenter.
Actually, Felicity, I'm not a presenter at all. I just come here on my lunch break and do this for fun. Kiss you.
Anyway, this was fun. Bye.